Hello and welcome once again to Talking Pictures Podcast. I'm your host David and joined with me as always my co-host Brian. Brian, how are you today?
It's been 84 years.
That's only an inside joke for us because we haven't recorded in like 6 weeks now. That's kind of why a lot of the last couple of episodes have been all spotlights and back episodes. It's been a very transitional period for both of us in our personal lives. So
I've transitioned. How about you?
I've transitioned. No, I haven't transitioned. No, but yeah, no, we've had a bit of a hectic month. So we appreciate everyone listening to our bank episodes, as we call them, but our spotlight episodes. You know, looking back at the Batman and Finding Nemo and the Incredibles and stuff like that. But
I think they liked our take on the Creature Commando, Skeleton Crew, What We Do in the Shadows series.
That's true, actually, yeah, because we did a big bunch of recordings around the storm and released those.
It's a long storm, wasn't it?
It was a very long storm. It was like three weeks worth of a storm. Released those three and then the bank three, and that got us through our tumultuous period of changes and stuff like that. But we're back here now in our new podcast studio.
I missed you.
And we're here to talk. We're going to talk about Captain America: Brave New World. We're a little bit late on it. We're about a month late on it, but we didn't want to miss it because it's the newest entry into the MCU after the last entry, which was Deadpool and Wolverine.
Or Agatha all along.
Yeah, or Agatha all along. But this is the first new entry now into the MCU proper, as it would be. You know, the main timeline. Not to say that Agatha all along wasn't, but it was very much in a kind of slightly different plane. But before we get into that, Brian, have you got a trailer of the week for us? Obviously.
Yeah. You just listened to it, David.
I just listened to it. This is going to be The Last of Us 2 official trailer. The Last of Us Season 2 trailer.
The latest trailer that was released. So I've watched it. You have not, but you have listened to it.
I didn't even think about listening to it until you came here today. Anyway, did you even listen to it? I was like, oh, I never even thought about that. And when I did, I think I got shivers maybe 6 times.
Tell me, what gave you some shivers? Give us the details.
The sound of Jeffrey Wright's voice. The little girl speaking, and whoever it was asking her, you know, why do we stay inside, or all this stuff. And then, well, the main one was, by the sounds of it, Joel asking Abby if she was okay. That's what it sounded like to me.
Abby?
Now, I don't know. It sounded like it could have been Abby. Was it Ellie?
Was it Abby?
I don't know. I couldn't see.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Oh, I thought it was Joel asking Abby, was she okay, towards the what would be maybe the beginning of the game.
Shivers.
So, I don't know.
Anything else?
There's lots. Like, the music in it was intense, and
the music was very like orchestral, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And there was pain in there.
You know something's coming. You know pain is coming.
Yes.
It's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be a very interesting
I think
season.
The Last of Us Season 2 is going to be our most studied and strategically scheduled release, corresponding to our podcast.
I think The Last of Us Season 2 is probably the season of television that I've anticipated the most and also spoken about the most with various people about the structure of the season and how it will unfold and how it'll play out without knowing anything about it, you know?
Me having watched the trailer, I know a little bit more on what they will be adapting. I'm aware more.
But where will they cut it off? That's always the big thing.
Oh yeah,
like,
where
is
is this season going to end?
Because and the structure of it as well,
yes.
in terms of...
Oh man, yeah, it's going to be...
a wild ride. What is it, April 14th?
April 14th. What a guess that was.
Yeah, you guessed that actually well before it was announced. But yeah, about a month away now. So, from the time of this releasing.
We'll be getting Daredevil, The Last of Us, and Andor. All releasing in the same period.
Very, very close proximity to each other.
Yeah.
But we're not here today to talk about The Last of Us Season 2. We're here to talk about Captain America: Brave New World. So,
Captain America, slap whatever subtitle name on it, because it doesn't make a damn difference. You could have named this New World Order. Oh wait, it was called New World Order.
Serpent Society?
You could have called it... No, actually, that's even worse, because that was a nothing thing. And you could have just... Rise of the Soldier, or Return of whatever. Or,
just insert name here.
Let's cut to the chase and cut the shit. I didn't like this movie.
Okay, interesting. Well, I knew you didn't like this, but okay, I like this movie. And...
Let's fight
about it. Okay. I think that the movie... Okay.
Should have not been made.
No, I think that the movie
should have been the second season of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay, let's start from the start.
Okay.
Okay.
Sam is a good Falcon.
I think he's a good Captain America too.
He's a fantastic Falcon. And he's a great character. I love Sam.
But you don't like him as Captain America.
It's not that I don't like him as Captain America. I think they just failed the one-time execution to solidify the transition of making Sam Captain America. Maybe don't do that on TV and continue it in the film, in the cinema.
Okay, well, I find that interesting that you say that, because I felt as though that starting this movie, that Sam is Captain America. Yeah. And he very much is like, this is a world now where he is Captain America. And I think that the movie did that well to almost never refer to him as the previous Falcon, or people refer to him as Cap. You know, throughout the film, this is bystanders and government officials and the president, everything like that.
Okay.
I felt that... I know what you're saying, that yeah, it's difficult to do a major plot within the TV show and then carry it over to film. But as people that watch that, I think that was done well. I think that was fine.
Watch Falcon and Winter Soldier? That it was done well there?
Between the two.
Okay.
I felt as though the journey from Falcon to Captain America was done within the TV show, and then the payoff is we can start this movie and Sam is Captain America. And if you didn't watch that TV show, which we both did, so we can't really come at it from the angle of neither of us having watched the TV series first, what the transition then is from Endgame to this Captain America movie. And reasonably...
That's interesting.
Like,
let's go back to the Avengers previously, where Sam had one line of dialogue, where it was something along the lines of, well, this is awkward, when it was Bruce and Black Widow meeting for the first time. And that's like the one line Sam says in that movie.
In which, Infinity War?
Yes. Mm-hmm. One line of dialogue. You're our next Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
Co-lead of one of your first Disney Plus shows and titular character for the next movie in after Deadpool and Wolverine. Mm-hmm. One line of dialogue. Yeah,
but you can't fault this movie for that movie only given one character out of 32, you know. Like how many...
You can argue that just that movie is riddled with 30 odd other characters and you have to share the load. I identify that. But they all had way more lines. I'd say Rhodey had 5 more times the amount of lines. Mm-hmm. Maybe more than Sam. Mm-hmm. And
I don't know. I think that's a strange criticism to have over this movie, that when he's been given an entire series to himself, him and Bucky. Him and the Winter Soldier.
Might have been a mistake. I think you're having your cake and eat it too by creating the show and then making the movie. You should have done one or the other. You shouldn't have done the...
So you think that the movie should have been the plot of the TV series?
Not necessarily.
So how would you do that transition then?
I wouldn't do it.
From Falcon to Captain America?
I'm not a writer and I'm not an executive producer. I'm not going to sit here and make the decision on what I would have done because I'm just a fan. But as a fan, I have the official God-given right to give my opinion on it. Mm-hmm. And my opinion is that what they were doing in Falcon and Winter Soldier was good. I liked it. I liked it a lot. But you do this movie and you start off with him already being acknowledged as Cap. Mm-hmm. Whatever work they did in the show just feels undone. Because now it just feels like every other... extra character with one line of dialogue just calling him Cap. Thanks, Cap. Hey, Cap. Good to see you, Cap.
Yeah. But don't forget,
it just doesn't feel like Cap. You're not Cap. Mm-hmm. Stop calling him Cap.
Well, don't forget, right?
He's not Cap.
The series ended with him becoming Captain America. Presumably, it's been 3 years since that series. So there's been 3 years of adventures or missions or being elevated to that status where it is normal for people just to refer to him as Captain America. He has been shown to be that Captain America. Maybe we don't get to see it, but it's within the world. It makes sense.
I just don't think this overall, whether it's the overall story or the finite details, like I just got into with him being referred to as Cap, because I don't feel it. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like that's Captain America. I feel like that's Falcon.
Okay, and I feel the exact opposite, where I think that by not referring to him as Falcon and having those people refer to him as Cap and saying, "Oh, thanks, Captain America. You're Captain America. You are Cap."
It feels...
I believe
it feels it's just as phony as when John Walker was Captain America.
Okay. I don't think we're going to come to a common ground on this. I think
No, like, it's just me, like, calling you Jeff. Hey, thanks, Jeff.
it's like if I went and did my a PhD and became doctor, but you never saw me whilst doing my PhD, and then all of a sudden I came back and everyone else around me is calling me, "Hey doc, what's up? Hey doctor, how are you?" And then you're like, "No, that's David." That's that's I think what maybe it's coming, because you didn't see.
I might see you halfway there, but perception is a big thing. Mm-hmm. Right? You have to meet me with this now, with perception. Mm-hmm. Our perception of Sam has always been a side character, a sidekick. Mm-hmm. It's always the case. To Captain America, Steve Rogers. He was in the second Captain America. He was in the third one, mm-hmm. and when he appeared in the briefly Avengers 2. Very briefly in Avengers 3, mm-hmm. and again briefly, but at least he had a good introduction in Avengers mm-hmm. Endgame. He was always a side character, and you make plans for everyone after Endgame. Everyone had their own side quest they were all venturing off to. Wanda had hers, Doctor Strange was going off into his, Spider-Man had his, mm-hmm. and this was the one for Sam to become Captain America. Great, yeah, no problem with it. I like it. Mm-hmm. Execute it well. I thought they were doing a decent job in executing it in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But when I watched this movie, I even just during it before it was over, it just felt like this is made for TV stuff. Mm-hmm. Down to the cinematography, down to the dialogue, down to the use of characters, down to the firmness of the protagonist in that of Sam. It doesn't feel like he's taken charge of something. He's just reacting to the side characters and their actions, whether it be Thunderbolt Ross or whether it be the villains in that of Sidewinder. What does he do? Sides your wines? Does he wide your signs? Or the Tinker or Brainiac? No, what's the
leader?
The leader, yeah. It doesn't. Sam doesn't have an arc in this. He's the same mm-hmm. guy from the start to the end, and they were rehashing the whole super soldier serum again. Mm-hmm. We already did that in the show. Why are you bringing it back again? Mm-hmm. Why are you trying to justify it again? Is this because you didn't have an opportunity to introduce that element in the big screen? So, well, we have this movie, let's do it here. Mm-hmm.
I get what you say there now.
You just can't do the both. Mm-hmm. You should have committed to one or stuck to the other.
Yeah. I completely understand what you're saying now of, like, I will agree with you that when you compare Sam's arc as Captain America through this film, he does pretty much end up in the same place as he was at the start. Whereas if you look at Steve Rogers over the first three films, he starts out as a scrawny guy from Brooklyn. He sacrifices himself and is Captain America. The second one, he starts out with complete faith within S.H.I.E.L.D. and America, and then he is, at the end of it, betrayed, and, Hydra was taken over and stuff like that. And then the third one, he is Captain America, and by the end of it, he's not Captain America because of the Sokovia Accords and stuff like that. Whereas with this film, it does very much... I completely understand what you're saying, that it is nearly reactionary. It's not he has stumbled upon this conspiracy and he is following it up. He's reacting to the setting up of Isaiah Bradley and kind of following those threads, as opposed to him going on a mission himself and he's deciding to do these things. It's very much in service of other people.
It just feels very weak compared to the rest. Like the first three just sound so strong and bold and brave mm-hmm. compared to this. Like mm-hmm. this... What did this have going for it? Returning characters from the Incredible Hulk, Harrison Ford, Red Hulk.
This film, I think it's
Giancarlo Esposito.
We're not new to say that this is very much a picking up on previous threads from a lot of other films, because not only does this pay off kind of the Captain America movies, or not even pay off the Captain America movies, but it's a continuation of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, but also the Eternals. It's the first time where the Eternals has actually been kind of referenced since their film. But then also, like you said, the Incredible Hulk, even introducing adamantium. It's like a stepping stone for the next aspect, which will be the mutants later on. So it does feel like a kind of a film that's in service of the universe at large. wrapping up certain things, but also
Feels like a blink and you miss it.
it probably does feel like that. Yeah.
What does this movie provide in service of the overall MCU?
I tell you what it does, because I thought about this actually as it was playing, and it's something that you've mentioned a few times.
What's that?
You don't know going into the next Avengers film, who's leading the Avengers, and when it happened on screen where President Ross says, "I want you to reform the Avengers," I don't know why. Maybe I'm just a dumb idiot, but the entire time I was like, oh yeah, the Avengers are gone since Civil War. Yeah, they reassembled for Infinity War and Endgame, but the Avengers aren't a thing anymore. You know, the
Avengers are not available. Get the Thunderbolts.
They were disbanded in Infinity War. That was just kind of a group of heroes in different, like, you know, in space or in New York or in Wakanda.
Yes.
But they were very much just heroes coming together. They weren't the Avengers. At the end of Endgame, the Avengers assembled finally, you know. Cap says, "Avengers assemble while holding Mjolnir." Great moment. But at the end of that film, everyone goes their separate ways. There is no Avengers. So I feel like in this film, with Ross saying, you know, "I want you to reform the Avengers. I want Captain America to be an official role within the government, within the military." I felt like, okay, yeah, let's build the Avengers from here. And so that's where, between these films, I'm going to assume that by the next Avengers film, we will see an Avengers team. Who will be in that? I don't know, but I feel like it will be led by Cap. Now,
Sam.
Yeah, by Sam. Sam is Cap. You know? I know it's hard to...
Just calling him Cap doesn't make him Captain America.
It does for me. I felt as though... But, like, okay, regardless of how you feel about it and that, he is Captain America.
Remember what I said about perception? Mm-hmm. It doesn't look good, from my perspective, the perception of the leader of the Avengers being Sam.
Why?
Because Rhodey outranks him. Rhodey is
Why?
more...
Just because he's been there longer?
No, outranks him. He's a higher military figure. And yet I still couldn't even see the likes of Rhodey lead the Avengers. Mm-hmm. To lead the Avengers, you need someone who you believe, as a character, can lead. Mm-hmm. But you also need to believe that this actor has the energy for you to believe, as a fan, that this is the leader of the Avengers. Mm-hmm. We had two for those. We had Chris Evans as Captain America, and we had Iron Man as played by Robert Downey Jr. Captain America, Chris Evans, was the leader of the Avengers, and I believe that. Mm-hmm. Whereas you could also alternate that the face and unofficial leader of the Avengers was Tony Stark.
Yeah.
It's like having Buzz and Woody.
Mm-hmm. You know, I what you're saying now, I agree with. I think that probably Anthony Mackie, he doesn't have the star power. He doesn't have the draw that Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. did at the height of the MCU. Like, they were...
But he was also introduced, and he's been a side character for so long. Mm-hmm. And it feels like it's just the next step up. Mm-hmm. Do you know who could have been a great face for leading the MCU? Maybe not leading the Avengers, but maybe leading the MCU. In fact, that's what I should have specifically said that Robert Downey Jr. was. Robert Downey Jr. was leading the MCU.
Yeah.
Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, Captain America, was leading the Avengers. Mm-hmm. And so that was a good shared role. Chadwick Boseman would have been great. Mm-hmm. He would have been a great face to lead the MCU.
I think he would have. I think if, you know, had he not tragically passed away, we could have seen him as the leader of the Avengers going forward.
As of right now, I feel like if we want the MCU to continue for another 7 years, however what that will be, I think the next logical face, the next perfect individual to lead the MCU as a character and as star power is Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. Mm-hmm. I think he's the next perfect fit for it.
Do you want to know something I thought yesterday, actually?
What was that?
For the first time ever, I thought, maybe I'm done with the MCU. I really genuinely did think that. And I know that you thought that after Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Quantumania.
Yeah.
I kind of thought of it actually yesterday. I was like, maybe after these next two Avengers films, maybe I'm done. Maybe, like, I don't see every single thing. Maybe I don't watch every aspect of it.
You're only thinking that now?
Yeah.
And you still like this movie?
And I still like this movie. I just think that, I don't know, it's like...
It's a nothing to it.
I think what I thought was, after these next two Avengers films, they should just do a hard reset. They should just reboot, or they should take a break for a couple of years and then reboot it. Because I just thought how big the MCU is. How many projects there is. And if you wanted to watch every single thing. Like, it would take you so long to watch it. Like, at a certain point, you're not making...
You're talking about as if it's mandatory to watch.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just thinking, like, for a lot of people, it's not mandatory, but, like, they want to consume it all. But
Not anymore.
at some point, like, you're not getting new fans.
No.
You're only making it for the existing fans, and that number is dwindling.
Well, I think people are just jumping in wherever they can. Like the fact that people can just jump into Deadpool and Wolverine because it's Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Deadpool and Wolverine. You can just do that. I think eventually I'll be falling into that factor. Because I was thinking the same thing. It's like, why am I even enjoying this movie? Like, why am I sitting here watching this? None of this is good. I didn't think the action...
I thought the action was good. I thought
I thought it was very...
The missile scenes, the dogfight, I thought that was great with the guys in their with their falcon wings.
I was bored.
I thought it was good. I really enjoyed it. I thought that was well choreographed, and that was like a good like dogfighting sequence.
I think the opening sequence was poorly done. I didn't think the Isaiah Bradley the action was great. I thought the hallway fight with the Israeli Black Widow character, that was poor. She's also another character, like, you just don't fit. Like, I am not intimidated by you. You're too short to intimidate. And I thought she was ADR'd for a bit.
Well, that was something that I think that the whole film was also riddled by the fact that they had multiple reshoots. Like, you even mentioned it there at the start. You know, this movie is called Brave New World, but it did start out as New World Order. And, like, there were a lot of
generic
changes.
subtitle name.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah,
what does Brave New World mean? It means nothing.
I don't know. It does feel like that maybe this film, it didn't have the greatest feet under it. You know, and like there was, I don't even know if you know about this, there was another character that was cut entirely. But she was within the marketing. Like, I think she's in McDonald's Toys. A completely different character. I don't even know her name, but she was within the movie and they were doing marketing.
Oh.
Like, promo toys and stuff like that.
Who is it?
I don't know. I can't think of the name. But it was like a female character, another
female character number 3, something like that.
Like a superhero character,
right.
with powers.
All right.
Now, what I will say, right, on a story perspective, the marketing for it went about it the wrong way. And rather than really, really, really promoting the fact that Anthony Mackie is Captain America, they went with the Red Hulk. And that just doesn't fit. The marketing around this movie doesn't fit within the story that the film is trying to tell. Because the whole film is kind of leading up to... we all know that Harrison Ford, President Ross, is turning into the Red Hulk by the end of the movie. You know that's the third act. You know that's the climax.
Yeah.
So the whole movie where it's a conspiracy and they're like, oh, what has he been doing? What has the leader been doing? And it's slowly building up and you don't know what's going on. But us as an audience know exactly what it is. He's been turning him into the Red Hulk. So there's no suspense on that aspect. We're just waiting for that to happen. So when you get little tiny bits of information, you go, yeah, well, I know what it is. I know what it is. Now, maybe that's just a problem for us having watched it brand new. But, you know, in 10 years' time, when some kid is watching it for the first time, doesn't know that the Red Hulk is part of this film, it's a brand new experience. Maybe we're hard done by the marketing of it. But I think that the movie is failed by the fact that every single person going into it in this opening, while it's still in cinemas, knows what they're expecting. The poster is the Red Hulk's fist hitting Captain America's shield. You know, we know what it is.
From an executive perspective, they made the right choice to put him in the marketing because it would not have made much money otherwise.
I don't know. I think that you could have focused on making Anthony Mackie the star and making it about Captain America. And this is the new Captain America. This is the new face of the MCU. This is the new leader of the Avengers.
You're right. They could have done that, but they didn't. Because I don't feel like that.
Yeah, and they should have.
But they even still didn't because I don't feel like that at all. It doesn't feel like he's just not Captain America. He's just calling himself a title. Steve Rogers is Captain America.
He doesn't embody the characteristics.
You don't call Chris Evans' character Steve Rogers. Or Steve, or right? You say Captain America because that's his name.
Yeah.
Captain America is now a title, a mantle, and that is now just being given to Sam. And I guess I feel like I would call him Sam now as opposed to Falcon. But Captain America, bit of an identity crisis there. And the other Falcon as well. First of all, I'm done. I am done, sick to death of a character entering an action scene, taking out bad guys, doing it successfully, taking a minute, and then having a little woohoo dance celebratory to himself. So that was class. Fuck off.
You're over it.
I'm done with that. That's not normal anymore. You don't go into a situation, an incident, to take out guys that could kill you, and then you laugh it off. So great. And it's filmed in a way where if there were tourists staring at you, and you go, oh, this is awkward and embarrassing. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Done. Fed up with it. And then, hey, I think I got some cool digs and designs I can add to this Falcon Wings suit. Hey, you think you can hit me up with the Wakandans? You're just cheapening the whole thing altogether. You're making a joke out of it. I hope to never see that guy again.
Really? I didn't mind him. I thought he was okay. I thought he was fine.
He was better in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He was in that, by the way. Did you know that? Yeah. Hope to never see him again. Actually, we will, though.
Yeah, of course we will. He's a new Falcon.
Nope. He's going to be in The Last of Us Season 2.
Oh, is he? Who's he playing?
I don't know if you'll know his name, but he's one of Abby's group.
One of Abby's friends. Okay.
Manny.
Yeah, I know Manny.
You know Manny?
Yeah, I know Manny.
I fucking know Manny.
Yeah. Say no more. What do you think of Harrison Ford? His first foray now into the MCU.
Probably the best character, and the one with the only arc in it.
Yeah.
And interesting because you can acknowledge the fact that he's been recasted to play the same character, which was previously played by the late great William Hurt. But it's an afterthought. Knowing he's being recasted is an afterthought because Harrison Ford takes on this character as his own, as if he's been playing him the whole time, or as if he's just a brand new character introduced into the MCU in this movie. How fucking interesting is that?
It's interesting which characters they decide to recast and other ones they decide to not.
Supporting characters compared to leading characters.
Yeah. Like, obviously, the biggest example of that is Chadwick Boseman, with T'Challa and Black Panther.
Yeah.
And he has passed away. But we've had multiple characters now that have just been recast entirely. That being most prominently Edward Norton as the Hulk.
They needed
replaced
the Hulk.
By Mark Ruffalo.
They needed the Hulk. They needed the character, and Universal casted Edward Norton, and Disney did not want to work with Edward Norton, and I think they made the right choice.
Yeah.
And I suppose they had a few years to separate themselves from the Incredible Hulk in 2008 to Avengers in 2012 to justify and warrant the change. It was a little bit harder to start, but after the Avengers movie, you were happy with it. And so, yeah, that's a given. Fair enough.
Don Cheadle as well as...
supporting character.
Yeah.
And
have there been any other ones that have, like, with actors that have been passed away and been recast?
In the MCU?
Yeah. I don't think...
Off the top of my head right now, no. Not that I know of. But I think they were trying to justify using Thunderbolt Ross, aka Red Hulk, and it was not worth scrapping that idea only because the actor playing him died. And I think they made the right choice. And I think they're realising maybe they made the wrong choice in killing off T'Challa. And now there's all these leaked images of this actor, Damson Idris, being recast as another universe's Black Panther. And I think Damson Idris, he was one of the front runners who played Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. And I think he's going to be in the upcoming Brad Pitt F1.
Okay. See, like, when it comes to the new Avengers movies... we are very much going to go into the multiverse of seeing alternate castings and alternate actors playing alternate characters.
Not too many now, come on.
No, I don't think they'll go... They won't go... They don't want to, like, poison the pot. They don't want to cast someone... Like let's say John Krasinski, right? They had him play Reed Richards in the Doctor Strange film. But kind of now you go, okay, well, now John Krasinski can't play... Or we can't get him back to play another role. Like, you kind of poison the well of actors if we get all these random people to play different ones. But then again, I don't know, because I
don't know. There's like a load of actors that's been used in the MCU. I'm thinking like, wow, what a waste. Carl Urban in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Sterling K. Brown in the first Black Panther. That's just two.
But then again, like, you have Robert Downey Jr. coming back to play Doctor Doom.
Disagree. So like, we're in a. I think we need to get on record our thoughts on that, because he is playing an alternative universe of Tony Stark, but his heritage has completely changed. Therefore, his name is changed. Therefore,
well, we don't know that yet.
Well, that's my theory.
Yeah, well,
and when my theory is that when other characters that we know look at Doctor Doom's face, they're gonna call him Tony with a big question mark. We all know we all see that as Tony, but we know it's not Tony.
See, I think, I was gonna say, like, you don't want to poison the well of actors and like, oh, we can't use that because we've used you as well. But maybe they can, like, they can just.
Well, the fact that we all thought, oh, wouldn't Mads Mikkelsen be great as Doctor Doom? But yeah, you can't use him because he was already.
But you could. We've used Robert Downey Jr. for Tony Stark and now Doctor Doom.
I think the narrative's going to play a role into that. The narrative that...
But there have been other actors that have played multiple roles.
I know. Gemma Chan played Blue Alien in Captain Marvel, and she was one of the lead Eternals.
Cersei in
the Eternals. But the fact that they've gone back to Robert Downey Jr. to play Doctor Doom, I believe that him playing Doom is going to play a narrative effect in the movie. That all the other Avengers characters are going to look at him and look at the hero who sacrificed himself, and now he's the villain. They're going to acknowledge that he is Tony, but because he's from another universe,
it's going to play. Yeah, I get what you mean. That it's
like
a narrative. It's a narrative point that it does look like our Tony Stark,
and the fact that they're not going to cast Robert Downey Jr. and they're just going to completely pretend not to notice the fact that he looks a lot like Tony, doesn't he? They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna ignore that. They're gonna 100% acknowledge it. Spider-Man's gonna look at Doom and he's gonna say, "Mr. Stark," you know.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're that does seem like it's
otherwise like what's the point in getting Robert Downey Jr. back? The fact that he was Iron Man is it's gonna have major ramifications that he's coming back as the villain. It's more effective. I think it's the best decision they ever could have made. Because who else was going to be the perfect choice to play Doom? Because we were shooting all these theories around. It's like, well, go get Robert Downey Jr. It's a great choice. I think it's great.
I think I'm waiting to see. I think that the portrayal has to be so starkly different from Tony Stark, pun intended. It has to be. Like,
it's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
like, but I think you can. It's easy to forget how good of an actor he is.
Yeah, and I just hope that they are very, very, very different. Like just quick example off the top of my head, Matt Smith as the Doctor in Doctor Who is completely different than he is as Daemon Targaryen. You would not believe the fact that they are played by the same actor. So I want to have Robert Downey Jr. play Doctor Doom in such a way that you're shocked. The only thing that reminds you of Tony Stark is the fact that when he takes off his mask, that he looks like him.
We'll know in a year and a few months.
Yeah. What did you think then? I think of the fact that the whole film, this Captain America film, was
wasted, unnecessary.
No, wrapping up all these other threads throughout the MCU.
Reactionary.
Well, okay. Why do you think reactionary?
This movie was made under the Chapek era. You know what Bob Chapek is?
Yep. The previous head of Disney.
Make as much as you can, as fast as you can. And they were spitballing ideas around. And when you're creating so many projects, and they still are, for some stupid reason, there's too many projects being made. You're then going to the third or fourth talent to create said project. That you wouldn't be going to them otherwise. The fact that they're sticking with Daniel Creston from Shang-Chi to do Spider-Man 4, they're keeping him in-house. Like Sam Raimi, I believe he'll do Doctor Strange 3. They got the Russo brothers back, and under Kevin Feige, the Russo brothers do good.
Yeah.
Oh no, Kevin Feige.
Yeah, no, I was going to say,
Emphasis-
because their last three films haven't done all that great, and it looks as though, from early reactions to the Electric State, we might be in for another.
I'm going to watch the
lackluster.
Electric State because I like that Oasis song.
Sure. He just done the one song in the trailer.
One song is good. Ki Kwan's in it. He's good. And it's a record now at this point. They're just constantly, the Russo brothers, since Endgame, they've just been going back to get one actor at least to play the pivotal lead character in their movies. They had Chadwick Boseman in 21 Bridges. They had Chris Hemsworth in Extinction. They had Tom Holland in Cherry. They had Chris Evans in The Grey Man. And now they've got Chris Pratt. They've got all the Chris's. Chris Pratt in Electric State.
I'm impressed that you remembered all those. I had them all in my head. Only because I looked at the list earlier today. But
yeah, but like the fact that the Russo brothers, who else owes us? Let's get the next one.
Who's next?
Yeah, like the next one they get is Robert Downey Jr. Or something like that, or Scarlett Johansson, or Jeremy Renner, or Mark Ruffalo. You know, it's an endless list.
Yeah.
But this movie was made and it was announced, and Kevin Feige didn't like it, and when Bob Iger came back, he was given back his power and his authority. JPEG was booted out the door, and then his banker buddies were removed, and Kevin Feige halted production, improved it to what we got, did the same thing to Daredevil Born Again, and they salvaged what they could, but I don't know who was removed and who was not. I don't know if the leader was the original villain. Maybe he was. I don't know if Red Hulk was always going to be in it. Maybe he was. Don't know. But I was always intrigued to see... Great, I'd like to see the return of certain characters from the other movie, therefore further acknowledging the existence of the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, okay, I thought it was groundbreaking to bring back William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross. The fact that he was in the trailer of Captain America Civil War, like, wow, okay, we're acknowledging the Incredible Hulk.
And Black Widow. He's in Black Widow as well.
Who?
Thunderbolt Ross, William Hurt.
Oh yeah, but that was Black Widow's 2021. I'm talking about Captain America Civil War.
Oh, sorry, when it was initially done. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because actually, you're right, because that was the first kind of acknowledgement of the Incredible Hulk within the MCU.
By bringing back William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross.
Because we had it the other way. We had Tony Stark at the end, in the end credit scene for that film. But since then, we hadn't had any returning characters or anything like that.
And it was good. That it was nice to see William Hurt in his final performance as Thunderbolt Ross in Black Widow, and notice he had a cane in that movie, and how that would have been circled back to a plot point here in this movie.
I think he would have done well. I would have liked to see William Hurt.
I would have liked to see his take on it.
And I thought it was interesting to see the flashback sequence for Harrison Ford as
when he was
that version.
When he was on TV, when he had a mustache.
Yeah.
When he was shaking the podium and breaking it. It's like, that just looks like something from SNL.
I thought that was funny. I thought that was good. I thought that Harrison Ford committed to the role. I didn't feel like he phoned this one in at all.
No. I thought that specific footage when his hair was grey and he had a mustache and he was in his general suit, I'm like, that just looks like Harrison Ford playing a caricature of Thunderbolt.
It's a cutaway in a comedy or something.
Yeah, like that's just, it took me out of it.
I liked it. I can see where you're coming from, but I can.
It was good. I thought it would have been interesting. Oh, cool! Harrison Ford's gonna have a mustache, and oh no, he had to shave it because that's just how Harrison Ford is. No, that's fine. I appreciated that Thunderbolt Ross was, because you said you would have been curious to see what William Hurt would have looked as the Red Hulk, and how he would have done in this movie, because this is the most character.
Absolutely.
That Thunderbolt Ross would have been. He would
throughout any of his previous.
This was a great grand gesture for the character they would have written. He's the second main character in this movie, and yet, unfortunately, he just passed away. But because we have Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross, and because we have him and his look and his appearance and design as the Red Hulk, you just can't imagine anyone else now. Because, like I said earlier, Harrison Ford stepped into this role as if he's always been playing him.
Yeah. Or
like, whether he was always playing him, or as if he'd stepped in as a new character entirely. Forget that you could have slapped a new name on him. He could have just played a different character similar to Thunderbolt Ross, but he would have played the role he would have played.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford made it his own, and I think that's very interesting and very important to remember. especially when it comes to recasting, and how it is easy to forget this character was played by a different actor. But once this actor steps in, that they've been recasted to take on this role, I think it's interesting, and it doesn't receive the credit what a recast does, because no one wants to see someone recasted. I thought this was the best thing they could have done. So that's my thought on that. What did you think of Winder of the Sides?
I think that he's
such a fucking waste of an actor.
Yeah, I would much rather
the fact
have seen.
I lived most of my life, or more of it, fantasizing Giancarlo Esposito as either Professor X or Magneto.
I was about to say exactly that. I would much rather see him in a more substantial role later down the line of either Magneto or Professor X.
And I think, okay, you casted him for the reshoots for this character, Seth Voliker. I thought, okay, I believe this actor can add some meat to this character and warrant seeing him again. And I think Giancarlo Esposito even mentioned that we will see him again. He didn't kill him off. He said that when I escape, Captain. And I think he's an interesting foe, a recurring nemesis for Sam in future.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought as well, is that like I could see him pop up in other MCU projects just because like as a kind of main bad guy for a criminal organization, whoever he's a part of, and you could see him pop up in other,
similar to Andy Serkis. He popped up.
I was about to say very similar to Claw, because he appeared in Age of Ultron and then in Black Panther. I was about to actually compare him to that, and I would like to see him do those kind of, like, he is primarily a Captain America bad guy. Yeah, but he is like his nemesis.
But you can fit him into other espionage stuff with the likes of Bucky or with the likes of Rhodey. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, I think
even having him appear in Daredevil.
Oh, I think that's a little too low.
But just having him appear in kind of these more grounded projects, things that aren't like big Avengers level threats.
Red Hulk and Super Soldier Serum and brains outside your head. It's not as grounded as one would want.
But his Sidewinder and Giancarlo Esposito, that whole aspect of the film is very much the realistic part. He doesn't ever appear with the Celestial or with the Red Hulk. It's very much
he's boots on the ground.
He is a pawn of the leader. Yes. Do this thing to get this where it needs to go.
I thought there was an interest. I thought he looked great in the trailer. How he emptied the shell bullets from his pistol, his revolver, and you just see the slow motion shot of that and him loading up, and then him just taking on Sam on his own. But then again, no, I don't believe you would take on Sam on your own like that. I didn't like that, and I just think overall it was a waste. I like the actor, therefore I want to see the character again, but that's because I like the actor.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you on that.
Also, I thought the writers thought they were being clever when Sidewinder said, he said that the probability of you stopping to take the time to talk to me and not have to kill me was high. Do you remember that scene? Yeah. And then when we see the leader for the first time in that's not cutaway shots, in quick shadowy,
first actual dialogue scene,
actual dialogue scenes, and he's saying, the probability of this here, and I hypothesize that the probability is going to be like probability this and probability that. You think you're clever, don't you? You think you're just adding on these little math terms, and that's the gimmick of the character. I was looking forward to seeing the leader. I was looking forward to seeing the actor. What's his name again? It's just a blank right now.
Yeah, I know that it's Samuel Stearns is the character name, but I can't think of the actor.
I know the actor and I like the actor.
He was supposed to be in Doom Part 2.
He is a standout in the Watchmen TV show.
Oh, I've not seen that yet. Bear with me 1 second now and I'll get you his name. His name, of course.
Oh, brother, there art thou. Where art thou?
Tim Blake Nelson.
That's it. I knew it was a 3-name. Yeah, looking forward to seeing him. What was your plan?
The plan was to ruin General Ross's legacy.
And then get arrested?
I don't think that he cared beyond that. He was pissed off at General Ross for locking him up and making him work for him with the promise that he would be pardoned, and then it was, no, we can't actually let you out. So he was like, okay, I'm not going to ruin your life, I'm going to ruin your legacy. You will always be known as the president who hulked out and destroyed the White House, and you will be locked up and you won't see your daughter again. Your daughter will hate you. And beyond that, I don't think he really cared. Like, because he could have had, like, with the abilities that he had of being able to mind control people and do all these things, he could have done whatever he wanted. But all he wanted to do was, he didn't want to kill General Ross, he wanted to destroy his legacy. Because even in that scene at the very start, where Isaiah Bradley attempts to kill him in the White House, he could have killed him right then and there. But no, he wanted to activate the Hulk. He wanted to activate the Red Hulk. He wanted to put him under enough stress and pressure that he hulks out. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, the Hulk, General Ross hulks out within the White House with all these foreign leaders, kills all these foreign leaders, and now you're the president that killed all these people within the White House. And then the same again when they're over with the Celestial. That the Hulk... General Ross hulked out there, caused an international war between these things. Like the
Was this when the leader was on the mic?
When he was talking to him on the microphone, yeah.
Do you know what the best solution for that was?
Take off the microphone, take off the headset. Stop listening.
Okay, so you acknowledge the stupidity of that.
Oh yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is a perfect movie. I'd say of all the Captain America movies, this is the last one for me. But I'm not going to say that these certain things, when people go, what was his plan all along? And it's like, well, it was to destroy his legacy. I can acknowledge the things that are bad, but I also acknowledge these other things that are good, that they did well.
Was bad.
Go ahead.
The green screen that Tim Blake Nelson was standing on when he went to go confront Sam sitting on a bench.
Yeah, that was bad. You're right. Also, his design was pretty bad. I didn't like his design at all. I would have just much rather the initial concept art of, like, him in the trench coat. I would have much rather him be a kind of a...
less scrotum looking.
Less scrotum looking, yeah, I wasn't going to put it that way, but yeah, just a bit more like composed, a bit more like I am the smartest, I am one of the smartest men alive kind of thing. I can know these probabilities, as opposed to someone that's kind of nearly cowering in the corner. And I agree with what you said there. I think that if it had been a bit more focused on, like, I'm getting away with these things because I'm playing the probabilities, like if he was executing his plan and he's surprised by things, like, oh, you only had a 2% chance of that happening, you've actually surprised me and stuff like that. But he just wasn't as confident as of a character or they weren't as confident as writers to maybe create these different scenarios that he can play the probabilities.
Just need better writers.
Yeah,
simple.
Did
you see the post-credit scene?
Yeah, okay, I didn't like that. And I'll tell you for why. Because it's like, stop trying to cram every single thing to be the multiverse.
He just walks into the room. Why has he got any reason to see him? Says, we are not the same. And then, how do we lead the conversation to steer into the tease of what's to come? Did
you hear what the director said?
The dialogue is fucking appalling.
Yeah.
It's fucking appalling. And I think the worst was the... stupid. Sorry, what did the director say?
The director said that they were actually referencing the Illuminati and not the multiverse.
Who fucking cares?
Yeah. I think that when you're in this multiverse saga and you're alluding to something coming, you go, oh no, well actually we were talking about something else entirely. And it's like, okay, but like in the context of what's going on, it very much seems like it's this one other thing.
I don't care.
It's like if I don't know. I was going to say, like, what if they alluded to the fact that Thanos was coming, and I was like, oh, well, actually, we wanted that to actually be Galactus. It's like, no, well, all these other movies are leading up to Thanos. You can't just all of a sudden switch it up and say, oh, well, we're actually referring to someone else entirely. Something that they might not even do, but...
I also reminded myself with the dialogue scene when they were doing the big exposition dump between Sam and Winder Sides. They were walking very close together, arm in arm, elbow to elbow. Were you under pressure that day? And let's just dolly track him. Let's just set on a dolly shot.
That must have been one of the reshoots, because they did like 3 or 4 different rounds of reshoots.
Yeah.
So, I like the fact that they included the Eternal, the Celestial.
Well, I think that by time.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why, because I couldn't really see them acknowledging it. They didn't acknowledge it in anything else.
No.
But it's good that we finally have this acknowledged. It's acknowledged in a way that is kind of realistic, I suppose, that if something came up out of the ocean like that, that all of the kind of major powers would want to claim it. Like, who claims it?
Yeah, and it's a good approach to reacting to it, and it was good.
And it's planting the seed for later on down the line that's the source of adamantium.
But how is that going to feed into the ideology of mutants, and mutants are perceived into the same context as racism because of how mutants are perceived?
Mm-hmm. That'll be remain to be seen. Like, the adamantium is kind of nearly just specifically to Wolverine.
Yeah, but then where are the mutants?
That's where we have to come from. I think that the mutants
I think that's
won't appear until well, obviously they won't, but they won't be a part of the MCU until after Doomsday and Secret Wars. I think that what will happen is that after Secret Wars there will be a kind of a big convergence of all of these different worlds onto our main MCU timeline. So that's where, going forward, the Fantastic Four will reside. They will reside within our mainline MCU, and then all of a sudden there will be mutants. You know, whether that be just all of a sudden mutants have become a thing, or X-Men have come in from it. I think that something will happen where now all of these different worlds will collide together to create this new timeline, this new MCU.
Then it kind of feels a little bit redundant that this was the introduction of adamantium. Mm-hmm. It's like, Wolverine could be... You could have just introduced adamantium in the movie you're introducing X-Men.
Mm-hmm. I think they wanted to have... Like, they absolutely could, but maybe they just want options. Maybe they want to have... If we want to go down this route, adamantium exists within... Like, they have, as well, they have a piece of Venom within this MCU that's just floating around out there, you know, in the possibility that maybe Tom Holland will encounter it, but otherwise maybe he'll encounter it in the Avengers movies, you know, on an alien planet, and then he'll bring it back, you know. So I think that sometimes they want to give themselves multiple doors that they can walk through.
I also think it's stupid that new Falcon crashing into the ocean on your first major battle, you can be on the Avengers roster.
I think he just wants to start off small. He wants to get people. He just wants
to look cool.
He wants to look cool. Yeah.
Is that how low we've degraded the Avengers? How diminished we've had our perception of the mountain height of movies?
Well,
because when you think Avengers, they're Avengers. They stand side by side to $1 billion movies, and they have Avatar and Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, right.
And now
in the context of the world,
they're just decreased now to.
But in the context of the world,
I can be an Avenger now.
I understand what you're saying, okay? But counterpoint, right? The Avengers that we know, right? That first Avengers roster.
Yes.
They are not like the most powerful of the superheroes within that world.
Thor, Hulk, Captain America.
No. Thor and Hulk are the most powerful. Everyone else is...
Captain America's pretty fucking strong. He's pretty strong.
Yeah, but he's not like, you know, a super powered. He has enhanced human ability. He's the strongest of, like, humans.
Well, a lot of the other superhero characters didn't exist at that point.
Yeah, exactly. That was my next point.
They existed later on.
Yeah.
But at the time of the current sitting, no one else was there to fit the space. In fact...
Okay, well, let me ask you this, right?
Yeah.
Pick a 6 Avengers roster now from the existing lineup of superheroes.
Oh, yeah.
Starting with...
Obviously, there will be more.
I'm just saying. Pick 6 now.
Pick 6 now.
From existing.
Doctor Strange. Can I pick one or two from the... Because I have thought about this.
Yeah, pick 6.
Pick 6?
Yeah.
Doctor Strange.
Okay, it has to be led by Cap.
No.
Sam Wilson. No, it has to be picked. He's been asked to set it, so it has to be Sam Wilson, Captain America.
It feels like something you should ask me at the end now at this point.
We are getting to the end.
Are we?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So you've Cap.
Cap
Sam Wilson.
Cap's not leading my fucking Avengers.
Doctor Strange.
I'd rather have Rhodey lead my Avengers.
Okay. So is Rhodey a third pick?
No.
Okay.
Well, no.
It has to be... No, I'm telling you, it has to be Captain America, Sam.
I don't look at Sam leading...
But he's creating the roster. He's creating the roster.
But he's not leading the team.
Okay. But he's creating the roster. Okay. So he's the one.
He doesn't... Oh, I don't want him. Like...
he has to be there, I'm telling you.
But if I had to pick 6...
Yeah. Okay, I tell you what, pick 7 then. Pick 7, and he's number 1. He's leading the team.
Yeah, sticking me with my parameters. Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel.
Okay, how does he get in contact with Captain Marvel? Captain Marvel's off. She's not an Avenger. She's off in
Neither
space.
is Doctor Strange.
Yeah, but he's Earthbound. He's Earth-centric. Captain Marvel is not. She's beyond the cosmos.
All right, and then I'll take her right then.
Yeah.
I don't think she wants to come back anyway.
I didn't think she would either.
She's passive aggressive.
Is she actually? I think she is actually kind of Earthbound at the end of the Marvels. Is she? I think she resides on Earth. Does she?
Yeah. She's a bit passive aggressive, Brie Larson, because she's not happy with the perception of the box office for her movies. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Mm-hmm. Don't need to be passive aggressive about it. It's like, it's not your fault, but like it is what it is. People are dicks. Mm-hmm. And you don't need to be one.
I like that Marvels movie, The Marvels.
Yeah, Kamala Khan was good.
Mm-hmm. I like all 3 of them. But sorry, yeah, okay.
Can I pick my 6 now?
Go for it.
Okay, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Thor.
Okay, how's he getting to Thor? Thor's off-world. This is what I wanted to say to you is that the list of characters that he has to choose from is a dwindled list. He has to go with who he can get. Okay. That's kind of my point.
Then let me pick I'll pick a 6 then. Mm-hmm. Okay, right. I'll pick a 6. Sam, Shang-Chi, Falcon, but he has to die in the first 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Banner, but they gotta bring Hulk back. They can't no more Professor Hulk. They can start him off with Professor Hulk, but gotta bring Hulk back. Doctor Strange or Wong, one or the other. So one of the sorcerers. So that's 5. Ant-Man.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, just because that's the roster doesn't mean that that's the only characters that's going to be in the movie. I would expect everyone else to return, and that includes Hawkeye.
No, yeah, but my kind of point,
these are the people that are going to be getting the salaries that are going to be employed by the government to.
But these are the people that he has access to and would join an Avengers team. When you think about that initial roster,
then
Cap,
that list I just listed out, right? Put that against the Avengers in 2012. That Avengers 2012 is going to win. They're superior in all vast different ways. Shang-Chi's the only most powerful one in that regard. Still. In fact, I think if you put the Thunderbolts against that list I just made up, there's a chance that the Thunderbolts could win.
I think you're pushing it there now, to be honest.
You got 3 characters with super soldier serum. You've got Ghost. You've got Taskmaster, who's going to be an epic character in that movie. He's going to mimic every single fighting style you can think of. I bet Taskmaster can take on Sentry himself. And Yelena as essentially Black Widow. And if Black Widow can face off aliens, robots, and cosmic beings, I think Yelena can do at least half as that. So I think they could face off against the likes of that roster of Avengers that I just listed off. I think it's perfectly reasonable for Sam to ask for Falcon to be part of the Avengers because of the starting point that he's at, of even with like say getting Spider-Man, right? You can't get Spider-Man.
Yeah, you can't. Based on our real world aspects of trying to get Spider-Man part of the Avengers, it's a deal with Sony or whatever. But within the world, Spider-Man, they don't know who Spider-Man is. Spider-Man is just Spider-Man.
Yeah,
they've all lost their memory of who he is.
Yeah, I think there's reports going around that Tom Holland might not be on set of Doomsday all that much.
Yeah, just voiceover. Yeah,
which is actually interesting.
I think that's the right thing to do because if in the context of the world,
at least in Doomsday anyway,
within the context of the world, no one is supposed to know who Spider-Man is. So if we had a movie where he is just in his mask, no Peter Parker, that fits within the world, and I think that's probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
If you can't get, Tom Holland on set, keep the mask on. Absolutely. Fit it within the world.
I think that'll be interesting to see. I'm actually hoping for that now in a way. Obviously, we'll have to see Tom Holland's face a little bit. We'll have to. We'll want to.
Probably in some solo scenes by himself.
Yeah.
But not anything together with people. Maybe he has really learned his lesson of having such a wide group of people in that of, MJ and Ned and all of the Avengers essentially knew him. But now, and Aunt May, he's lost Aunt May because of that. But, going forward, he wants to keep his secret identity as secret.
What else? Betty Ross returned. That was nice.
I was shocked to see her return. I was shocked to see her not return within the cherry blossom scene.
Cherry blossom, such a name.
There was so many cherry blossoms in this movie.
Such a name for flowers, and it's too long to add to your dialogues lines. Why did they not bring her to calm Red Hulk down and have him?
I thought that's what they were gonna do.
Okay. Stupid. Bucky made an appearance.
Yeah,
That felt like a reshoot.
possibly. Yeah. Oh, you're shooting thunderbolts. Come over. But I thought it was nice to see that relationship carry over from the TV series to this. That they're not beheld by the fact that they were both Steve's friends. They are just each other's friends.
Yeah, and that's the expectation now. It's interesting. It's no different than Valkyrie showing up in the Marvels, you know? Like, it's just, connected threads here and there.
Yep.
You know, someone who's not clued into the MCU is like, oh, is he supposed to be a somebody? Yeah. I just overall think this movie should not have been made. I think if they really wanted to do this story, they should have done a second season of this. They could have named it completely different, but serve as a sequel to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's just, it was unnecessary. There was no contribution. And when I say Deadpool and Wolverine was no contribution, yeah, but that was fucking good.
Enjoyable.
This is not. And furthermore, this movie feels so vaguely connected to everything else going forward, not backwards, forwards, in where we were going. It feels like, regardless of whatever connected threads they were trying to do, it's redundant and indifferent. Where I feel like we are now, I think, obviously, Doomsday is going to start by dropping us in to a certain situation, and through good storytelling, we are going to be playing catch up in what the fuck happened. I think the 5th Avengers movie is going to start off with something having happened, and we are going to be in the middle of the shit. And we as audiences and fans are going to go, what happened? And we're going to be thrusted into certain situations, and we're going to be going, how is Shang-Chi there with Valkyrie? Or why are the Fantastic Four already know who Star-Lord is? Or why is Star-Lord buddying up with White Vision? Have you seen these leaks? Yeah. And why are all the Hulks now brought into this particular situation?
Like if you were just dropped into the third act of Infinity War.
But it's not the third act.
Yeah, I know, but it's the opening. That
yes.
It's like that those relationships and those characters are in positions that we don't know how they got, and we have to play catch up to it.
Just multiply by 10 the way Avengers Infinity War started off with Thanos already having invaded the ship and had already attacked.
But on a grander scale with all of our characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Avengers I could see that happening. Absolutely.
And I think because of the state of the MCU now, I think that's probably the best choice. Because rather than dropping us into the shit, drop us into the shit narratively and pick us up out of it and continue it into Secret Wars and reintroduce our characters in drastically different situations from where we last seen them off. Like, obviously with Star-Lord sitting on the couch with White Vision, I don't know where that context is coming into it, but we'll see.
I think it may be that some of those images were probably more likely like, oh, let's see pairings that we haven't seen before, and that being one of them.
It's interesting, but I'm just looking forward to Star-Lord. I think, in my opinion, now it is the perfect opportunity in closing off that I want to ask you, David, what are you looking forward to Avengers Doomsday? Not Fantastic Four, not Thunderbolts, Avengers Doomsday.
I think what I'm looking forward to is seeing variants of characters, but when I say variants of characters, I don't mean variants of actors. I want to see characters of, like, if you watch the last season of What If, right at the very end, they showed a lot of, like, variants of characters of, like, Ghost Rider, but he's a samurai, and, like, Deadpool with, like, 1,000 knives behind his back, and, like, a different costume for Spider-Man, and all these things. And I want to see variants of the characters, but not variants of actors, if that makes sense.
I think that's a waste. I think if you're going to have characters play a role, whether they're a variant or not, why would you waste it on bringing a different actor or the same actor in to play an alternative version of that character when you can just have another character that already exists to play that role, to fill those shoes, to do that task, to fulfill that duty? I don't want to see an alternative version of Name a character.
Spider-Man.
Name a different character. They're not going to do another Spider-Man.
Daredevil.
Daredevil's not going to have much of a role.
Thor.
They're not going to have another actor play Thor to play a role when they can just have someone else do that. Be it Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange, or Captain Marvel.
No, I'm not saying that.
What are you saying?
I'm saying I want to see variants of characters, not of the actors. I want to see, and by that I mean I don't want to see Chris Pine playing a version of Thor. I don't want to see Matt Damon seeing a version of Thor. I want to see Chris Hemsworth playing another version of Thor that's drastically different. Giant white beard, scar across his eye, no eye, whatever. I want to see different versions of the characters, but possibly portrayed by the same actors. It doesn't matter really who the actor is. I want to see different versions. I want to see Spider-Man. I want to see a different suit altogether. Yeah, he's still voiced by Tom Holland, but a different version of that character. I want to see those aspects. I want to really see, if we're going multiverse, if this is the conclusion to the multiverse, just go all in. Go all in with it. But I don't want to see like, oh my god, a big cameo from this person. I want to see the characters take center stage as opposed to the variants of actors.
Kind of feels like a big cameo anyway, even though it's the same actor playing a drastically different look and version of the same character to play. Now,
well, if it's a different version of the same character, that's different than, say, Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom and Tony.
Doctor Doom's he's the villain, and he's the titular character.
Yeah, so but he's very much different characters.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm talking about like the same actor playing a different variant of the same character.
Well, technically, I think that's what they're going to do with Doom anyway.
Well, yeah, that'll remain. We just have to wait and see with that. I know there is heavy speculation on that.
I would look forward to seeing Chris Hemsworth play that appearance of Thor, just on the basis of
just an example.
Well, just the way you described it. Like, oh, that actually sounds pretty cool.
Like an Odin version of Thor, you know.
But I think if they're gonna recast if they're gonna get an alternative version of a character we know, I think just do one and make it Black Panther and get someone else in there, someone fresh for audiences to accept, not someone we've all been guessing from the Keith Stanfield to John David Washington. Damson Idris, get him in. I don't know him. I'll know him this year. You will too. But yeah, what am I looking forward to? You ask. You didn't.
Brian, what are you looking forward to?
Star-Lord. I'm looking forward to seeing Star-Lord's role in it, and
just as him, you know, not a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but just a guy on his own again.
Yeah, and seeing what role he'll play. More curious to see what he will do than where has Steve Rogers been. Obviously, I'm more curious to know how they're going to introduce Robert Downey Jr. as Doom and how he may or may not be tied to the likes of the Fantastic Four. I guess I'm also curious to know if the Thunderbolts are going to appear. And I want Daredevil to be in it.
It's alright.
I've never wanted something like that before until now. Thanks, Kevin Feige. I want Daredevil to have a role.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be big, but I want him to be in it. I just want him to make an appearance. I'd rather see him in an Avengers movie, even if it's just Doomsday, more than, let's say, Spider-Man 4.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'd just rather that.
Have you got a recommendation before we let these people go?
I am going to recommend... What am I watching? I'm not going to recommend Suits LA. I'm going to...
I thought the second episode of Suits LA was better than the first episode.
I'll give it a watch, but that's a show I'm ready to drop because I have more time to spend elsewhere.
Yeah,
I'm going to recommend YellowJackets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
or Reacher, or 1923, or you could watch Suits LA. Do you know what I am watching? Daredevil.
Yeah, you're catching up.
For the first time in my life.
The original run.
Yeah, I'm catching up on Daredevil. I never had a plan to watch it. I knew Charlie Cox as that Irish guy in Boardwalk Empire and in the new Irish drama Kin, but he's pretty good at Daredevil. Looking forward to seeing him progress into that, and looking forward to watching more on Punisher. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Daredevil. Watch the original 3 seasons of Daredevil, because I am going to watch them all in the 2 seasons of Punisher before I watch Daredevil Born Again. By the way, I know.
You know. I know what you know, yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, we won't talk about it here because it's a spoiler, but I'm going to recommend...
David, what are you going to recommend?
Oh, thanks for asking, man. I'm going to recommend another happy pod. The guys, Nathan and Lawrence, they've ended their podcast. They had their finale there last week. So just want to kind of send some love over to them. I want to recommend, obviously, another happy pod and Still Got Legs. The guys came on for our House of the Dragon episode. They had us on for the X-Men in their X-Mania phase. I think that's probably what killed their podcast, honestly, doing 12 weeks of X-Men movies. But they had us on to do First Class, so just want to say congratulations for the guys ending their podcast there this week. They're still going ahead with Still Got Legs, but they've finished there, another happy pod for the foreseeable future. But just want to say a big shout out to them and recommend them. If you haven't listened, you now have all 210 or so episodes to go back and listen to.
I think it's interesting to choose any movie they could have done, or every show they could have done. They did it on the third How to
Train Your Dragon. Now, in fairness, I think that it was the right choice. They finished out the trilogy.
Oh, they did the other two?
They did the other two, and then as well, this one, the third How to Train Your Dragon movie is about like letting things go and like moving on and
did you listen to it?
Yeah, of course I did, man. As soon as it came out, I always listen.
I've been saving.
Oh man,
you
don't want to let them go. You're going to have to start listening to Doctor Who to listen to their podcast.
I'm not going to listen. Well, maybe I will, because I listened to all 4 episodes of their... What did they do? The anime.
Oh, Attack on Titan.
Yeah. And I never watched Attack on Titan, but I just wanted to hear them.
Yeah.
And so I listened to them.
Great banter, great guys.
It was great banter, great guys. And they're released on the Saturday and not the Friday. Did they give a reason why? Or
Yeah, Lawrence is a twat, basically. No, I think they just had some mic issues. So
yeah, and it's a long one as well, and I'm not driving back up to college.
Yeah, so you want to just have a time to listen to it.
Yeah, so I'm not going to listen to it in broken periods. Like I'm going to be like polishing all my boots or something like that to listen to it or something like that. But yeah, because I was going to talk to you about it, but hey, we've got it on record now that I think they were great. They're a great bunch of guys, and because I listen to them every week anyway. Yeah,
they were that's the thing is that these are two guys that we just like offhandedly they had us on. No, like we genuinely also listen to them and are fans of them. And
I listen to 3 podcasts. One of them is the John Campea Show. The other one is us. And
admitting that you're listening to ourselves.
I do listen to ourselves. Do you know?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
No, you just get the download point. I actually listen to it. I never fast forward either. And I listen to the guys as well. So you introduced them to me, and damn it, David, gone too soon.
Yeah,
I hope they finish off their Scream franchise.
They said they will. They said they're coming back to do that. So.
And it'd be nice to get the odd episode. And they want to do the Star Wars sequel trilogy.
Yeah, they're doing that. I think next January.
Next January, fair enough.
Yeah,
look. And I just want to say congratulations to Lawrence being a father. Starting a family, it's a wonderful thing. Like I understand what time it can take to do 2 podcasts, let alone one.
Yeah,
and one, as they said, not financially stable compared to the other.
And congratulations to Nathan for putting up with Lawrence for all this time.
Fair play. Lawrence is a dickhead. Did you not know?
He's a twat. I heard.
I think Nathan said it like 210 times or something like that. But yeah, I hope to have a conversation with them again. So
yeah, absolutely.
Good recommendation there, David.
Brian, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I know that we didn't agree on it, but I'm glad that we got to have our talking points on this
we had
entry into the MCU. And not even just Captain America itself, but the MCU going forward as a whole. I look forward to our next chat. It'll be Thunderbolts actually in May, so we don't have to wait too long again to talk about the MCU. And then
what are you looking forward to in that? Taskmaster.
No, not Taskmaster. I'd be surprised if Taskmaster makes it past the first act. But,
honestly,
yeah,
I really fucking hope they're pulling a loose one on us.
Yeah, so
and that
they're actually away on another separate mission or something like that.
That they're gonna fake it out and they're gonna hop in at the last second and they're gonna play a pivotal role in a specific incident.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Bob. I'm looking forward to seeing Sentry.
I'm looking forward to seeing John Walker. I really am looking forward to seeing what Wyatt Russell's going to be doing in this.
I like Wyatt Russell.
I think Wyatt Russell's great. I think he's going to do good. I think he's going to be treated as the laughing stock in this. Like
not a real hero or something like that.
You, whatever. Like they're going to be slagging him throughout the whole thing, but he's actually going to be... I think I don't know why. I just identify with him a little bit. Not as cool as Bucky, not as funny as Red Guardian, and consequences.
Yeah, yeah.
We need some consequences.
Yeah.
And Taskmaster does not count.
No, I think Red Guardian goes. I think
Red Guardian should go. Mm-hmm. I think he has to. I want to feel some emotion. Mm-hmm. And if he...
I'd like to see someone, like, lose a limb. I'd like to see, like, maybe Yelena with, like,
Bucky has a limb.
Yeah, I know, but, like, to lose something else. I'd like to see maybe Yelena, like, maybe lose an arm or something like that as well.
Yeah, finger, maybe. I don't know. But I think if you kill off Red Guardian, that alone is substantial enough in its own right. And I think that would be worthy of it. That's what I hope. Now, we'll see in May. I think the trailers have gotten better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Did you see their most recent one that was like highlighting the fact that it was like the writer and director of Beef, the composer, like all these A24 films, and like the actor from A Different Man, Midsummer, all these ones. I'll put it on now. It's actually really, really funny.
All right, okay.
But thanks so much for listening to this episode of Talking Pictures Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you're subscribed to us on your favorite podcasting apps of choice. Make sure that if you haven't already, to give us a 5-star review on your podcasting app of choice. Leave a little review. It helps us immensely. It costs you nothing, and it helps other people find the podcast. You can follow us on all of our social medias. They're down the links below. And if you have any suggestions for bonus episodes or anything like that, make sure to send them into talkingpicturespodcast1@gmail.com. Like I said, we have new episodes every single Wednesday, as well as bonus episodes every other weekend, so make sure that you're tuning in, never miss an episode. And Brian, any final words before we let these people go?
It's great to be back.
It's great to be back. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, David.